The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
Good morning. Welcome to Cowboys StoryLine. It is Wednesday, June 11th. I'm Nick Eatman. Final show of the off-season. Always seems to happen a little bit early, but in this case, going to training camp pretty early. Looks like we're going right July 20-ish, something like that. It's changed a couple times. I think that is the time. I don't know if it's been officially announced, but it's mid to late July. And so this will be the last day of this show because after this week's mini camps, the players and coaches are pretty much off until they report to training camp. So this will be our last show. It's the last week of podcasts all together. I think everyone, not everyone's excited about it. Chris Beam might be. He's been doing shows, not every show every day, but still, this is a time we can kind of get a little bit of a break. And so no one needs it more than Chris. But let's see if we can get as many calls as we can in this show to kind of wrap up this off season. So let's just get right to it. Michael in Colton, California, like he's always been. When he calls, he's first. Michael, what's up, man?
Yes, sir. Good morning, everybody. And how about them Cowboys, Nick? Man, I'm just getting really excited because I just feel like the season is, man, it's right around the corner. And I just want to say, man, I think you guys over there at the media team, not only are you the best in the business, but I think you guys have the best job in the whole world. You guys get you guys have a whole insight of what's going on over there. But anyways, to get to my question, what rookies, and I say rookie more than one, do you think will have the biggest impact, will be the biggest storylines of training camp? And that's what I'm excited to see. So once again, how about them Cowboys? And shout out to the whole Cowboys Nation. And I'll go ahead and hang up and listen to you offline. But God bless you all and have a great day.
All right, Michael. Appreciate it. Great call. A lot of energy. In and out quickly. With a good question, too. So great call to start off the show for us. As far as the rookie, having the biggest impact, I mean, you hope it's your first-round pick. You hope it's Tyler Booker. You hope, they're at right guard. He steps right in, and they can run the football well. And I mean, it's hard to fathom, just replace Zach Martin. But at least be, I don't know if he can do that right away, but that's the plan. That's why you drafted him there. So that's the easy answer. But we'll talk about a couple more. I mean, guys that could certainly make a difference here, second and third round picks. I mean, how Donovan Ezeraku, how he makes a jump here as his rookie year. What kind of contribution does he bring? Is he a pass rusher off the edge right off the bat? Is he a guy that has to be on there on third down? You hope so. You hope he's that good of a pass rusher. I remember, just hearing about Eberflus, like really wanting that pick. There was some talk about another cornerback in that second round, but he was like, the best guy on the board for me is at Boston College pass rusher Ezeraku. And he was able to get the room to kind of think that way too. Not that they weren't already on board, but that was just kind of his doing there, I think. And let's see what he does. And then also, Savon Revel. What can he do? I see him right now rehabbing the ACL injury from last year. He should be getting close to training camp, being ready to go. He looks pretty good. What kind of contribution can he provide? Because we're talking about a guy that a lot of people thought was a first round pick. And what's funny is I was watching something on NFL Network that had been recorded. It might have been a Cowboy game or something that I just recorded, and I was watching it. This was like a week after the draft, but this was this thing. It was a Football Life. That's what it was. It was one of those Football Lives. Lawrence Taylor. That's what it was. It was a Lawrence Taylor Football Life. I was watching that, and it was like a week before the draft, and somebody was throwing out their mock draft, and this is after the Cowboys had picked, but I looked at it and I was like, wow, they had like Tyler Booker picked like 15 or so, and then they had Ezaraku at like 28, and then Revel at like 30. This is just, I forgot who it was, Lance Zierlein or something, maybe Bucky Brooks. Thought that was interesting after the draft that, at some point somebody thought that, they would have 3 of these guys go in the first round. So those guys, that's my answer. Those guys right there, those other 2 other than Booker, what kind of contributions do they bring? And then quiet as kept, Jaden Blue, the 5th round pick, might just be starting running back. So a lot of good storylines there for the rookies. Let's go to Zach in Germany. Zach, what's up, man?
Nick, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Good. How are you? Thank you for our gift. You sent a lot of stuff to a lot of our team members, shirts and patches and things like that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Hope you guys enjoy.
Those shirts they're very comfortable, and I feel like, it says like customs on the back or something. I feel like I'm gonna go around there like a security guard and start telling people what to do. I might do that.
Now might not be the day to wear it if you haven't watched the news.
Maybe not.
Getting crazy, but
maybe not today.
Maybe not.
No.
But I appreciate that. As far as Cowboy stuff, got a couple short things for you today. First one, Solomon Thomas. That guy is looking big. Do you see him playing inside, outside? Just want to get your opinion where you think he's going to be at.
Wherever he wants to play.
Yeah, he's looking huge.
I think he's a 3 technique inside guy that maybe on some certain situations they can play him there with Osa, but I think for the most part he's a guy that will spell Osa and play in 3 technique. But there Eberflus will do some different things in there. But I think he could play a 1 occasionally, depending on the down and distance. But I think for the most part he's a 3 technique defensive tackle.
Okay, good to hear. I hope he revives his career here. I know he had a decent stint with the Jets, but former first rounder. So, moving on now with the cards have settled a little bit. Looking at our running back situation with Javonte or Miles, because those are the 2 guys. Would you rather have kept Dowdle? Now looking at the contracts, are almost the same, or would you feel it was time to move on? Just want to get your thoughts on that. And then the last thing is, I'm not sure if you already mentioned it, on Jair Alexander being released. Just want to get your thoughts.
Okay.
I'll hang up on this.
All right, Zach, appreciate it. I don't really have any thoughts about Rico Dowdle and all that. Just looking at what he got there and what the Cowboys ended up doing a little bit cheaper there. I kind of think that those guys are about the same to me, and they're not getting paid the same. So I think Dowdle was good. He's a good, solid player, but I don't think it necessarily had to have him. He's good. They can get this out of Javonte Williams, and I think when Rico Dowdle did that, I don't think it changed inside the building. This is my opinion. I don't think it changed the thoughts on Rico Dowdle, like, oh, he's better than we thought. I think it changed the thought on, okay, this is what we can do with a player like that. So if Rico can do this, we can do this with others. And that's why you didn't see them draft a running back that high. They didn't put a lot of stock in the free agency. They got a couple of guys probably on that same level. So that's what I think happened is I don't think it changed anyone's thoughts about what Rico is as a running back. I think it changed thoughts on, or maybe it even solidified thoughts about we can do okay with a back that's not in a top tier, and he can be very productive, which Rico was. So that's what I think happened there. And then answering your question on Jair Alexander, it's what you have right now with guys that are hurt a lot at corner. I'm not saying Deron Bland's hurt a lot. He got hurt once, but Diggs has been hurt a little bit. So you have some uncertainty there at corner. This would just be another guy you throw in there. I'm usually for that kind of move. In this case, I would go against it. I don't think that's your answer there. I'd rather see them develop Revel and see what happens when Diggs can come back. But you're adding another. I want to say problem because I don't know much about him. I just maybe some headaches. And good player when he's healthy, but the Packers obviously decided to let him go. He needs a new start, but you've done that a little bit with Elam already. that's probably not the route that I go, Jair Alexander. That's just my first gut instinct. Don't know much about the player and how much they've studied him. Maybe that is something that they'll do. All right. Let's go to Champ in Nebraska.
Hey, Nick. Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, I hadn't called for a while. I was going to try to call in a couple of weeks ago on my birthday on a Wednesday, and that was the Wednesday you guys changed to Thursday, and I was off that day. I was like, dang it, I missed it. So but it's all good.
Yeah, all right. Well, happy birthday to you.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Hey, a couple questions. I know mini camp out there is no contact and all that, but can you tell us what you've seen from Booker and Guyton? Like, does he look like he's a real deal? Guyton, has he improved any from last year that you can tell just in these non-contact drills and stuff? And also, over the offseason, we've heard a lot about Diggs and potentially releasing, trading, moving on from him with his contract and all that. But listening to Micah and the way he talks about Diggs and the friendship they have, do you think that would be a problem if we got to the point where we released Diggs because of that contract or traded him, whatever we did with him, that it would cause some issues? I mean, I know it's a business.
Yeah.
You make friends and people come and go and all that, but it seems like he and Micah have a really, really strong friendship. I don't know if that would be something that could potentially cause some disruption to him and what he cares for as for Diggs, having some hard feelings towards the organization if they got rid of him.
Yeah.
With that, I'll hang up. I'll listen offline. I just wanted to say hello, and you guys enjoy your break. We'll miss you, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Thanks, Champ. Appreciate it. Great call. Let me ask you, we go to the first part about Guyton and Booker. You know, you said it best when you said, you know, it's hard to tell about those offensive linemen early on here with no contact. But, you know, when I talked to Eberflus the other day, you know, he was getting a salad or something like that. We chatted for just a second. And I asked him this question, not so much about the offensive tackles, but the defensive guys, about this time of year, you know, what are the things that y'all are looking for without, because they play physical positions. The guys that play physical positions, what can you see? He said the biggest thing, the number one thing, of course, is awareness. You know, we know what the play is called. We know what they're supposed to do, and we know, you know, did they get there or not? Did they, you know, the pop with their hands? You know, you can tell a lot of things without it actually taking people to the ground. So that was from defensive side of the ball. Offensive side of the ball, kind of the same type of thing. You know, are they getting out of the stance quick? Are they picking up things where maybe a potential blitz is coming from? Those are things that are tough to tell. Body wise, I think Guyton does look better. Looks, you know, he's super tall, and so he looks a lot like a left tackle now. And he will certainly with those pads on. So it's really hard to tell at this time of year. So you knew it was when you asked the question, but the guys that do know, the coaches, they're saying the right things at least, and I don't know if they would say differently, but from what I'm hearing, they're doing well. But then again, just like with anything, just like with the culture, just like with everything that sounds good here, it all changes until, you know, when the bullets start flying. So it looks good for Tyler Guyton, but when Micah Parsons signs a contract, if that happens, and gets to training camp and rushes off the edge on him, you know, in a one-on-one drill, or the Rams come to Oxnard for a practice, and you know you got Verse over there or whatever, and they're going at it one-on-one. Let's see what happens, you know, and that's one when we'll really find out a lot of that good stuff. And then as for the Diggs part with Micah. You know, I think players understand everybody's situation. You know, Micah is in a different boat than you know, Diggs or a lot of players, and you know, he knows one of the big things for him is to be a leader, and so part of being a leader is understanding other things that happen in the organization. So if that were to happen, if the Cowboys were to make a move there, and I don't know if that will, but if they did, you know, he could be upset about it, or he could be, you know, disappointed, sad, whatever it is. But also from a business standpoint, step it up and move on. I mean, and here's an example of that. What Diggs is doing in the offseason and what his decision to be here, not be here on certain times, give up some money to do some of the things and rehab at other places. I mean, that's not exactly what Micah's doing. Micah's in a different boat too. So, yeah, they may have a great friendship, but they're still doing things differently and acting different with where they are and when they're there and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it would be a huge problem at all. I mean, it shouldn't be. Like you said, it's a business, and handle your own business is a big part of it there. All right, let's go to Davion in Illinois.
What's going on, big dog?
How you doing, man?
What's going on, man? Happy to get on.
All right.
It's always tough. Actually, I just celebrated my birthday a couple days ago.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, man, 46 years is big time, big time. I'm enjoyed my weekend off golfing.
Good.
But couple things. Minicamp. What are the things that you've noticed with the offense? Are you seeing like a lot of new stuff, new wrinkles that we got coming this year?
Seeing a little bit more motion, and which is what we were talked about a lot last year. Why is it there not more motion? But I do think there's a ton of misdirection. I mean, that's one thing. Everybody going this way, tight end going that way, running back going that way. It's like, and I've said this before, but this offense feels like it's going to use every blade of grass at that 53 yards wide. They really are. I don't see a lot of bunched up things. I see more spread out things, which I like. I like that. I've never really understood the whole bunched up when you have tight ends and receivers in here trying to block and all that. I just feel like it's better to just use it all. And that's one thing I've seen. A lot of rollouts, a lot of CD going this way, Turpin coming across the field this way, wide open, tight ends. That maybe that's not great for the defense, right now. But that's one thing I have seen is just a lot of misdirection as far as routes go and just being deceptive here and sneaking a guy out to being wide open.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I've been hearing that the chemistry between Dak, Pickens, and CD is starting to really blossom.
Yes.
It really feels like, I think I was talking to our little clique about basically he could be like Alvin Harper to Michael Irvin to, of course, Troy.
Yeah.
And we can have hopefully one of the running backs sprout up and be something. I guess when we figure out who's going to be the number one. But man, definitely just truly excited. We pretty much got it solidified what we're going to do for us coming to Oxnard. I think it's about 6 or 7 of us.
Oh, wow.
Country to come down and basically be there the first part of week 2 or week 3, I think, when y'all out there. I think it's week 2 up there. And look forward to try to meet you in person and stuff like that. And,
of course.
And go from there. We're so excited to come up there and hang out. So. Yeah,
man, that's awesome. That is going to be very interesting. It's going to be that's a cool concept. I'm glad you guys are doing that. Man, I can't imagine. Y'all are staying in one house?
Yeah, that's the plan. We're looking at trying to do some B&B somewhere near, like a couple miles away from the training facility, whatever.
Yeah.
We're coming from, Coach, I'm in Illinois. We got Dallas, Arizona, East Coast with Irene, West South Florida with Dylan. So we come all over. We're gonna be. It's gonna be pretty cool, man. I'm excited. I can't wait to, like I said, get to see you and Chris in person and try to meet up everybody else.
All right, we'll make something happen. We'll figure out how we do a show. When when it's my day, I don't do a show every day, but when it is my day, I do a show when y'all are out there. It'll be early in the morning. We do a show at 8. So we'll see what kind of late nights y'all have in that Airbnb, but let's see if y'all get up for the 8 o'clock show. Maybe we can figure something out and put y'all on there. One way or another, we'll figure out a way to do that. Well, that's cool.
We'll be ready for that. We'll be ready for that because, like I said, we're excited just to get out there. And this will be a lifelong dream for me because I always wanted to go be out there at training camp. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really geeked.
All right. Well, I'm excited for you guys as well. It should be a lot of fun. Davian, thanks again for the call. Appreciate that. Wow, man. Whole crew coming. Not the whole crew, but, I mean, a big crew coming out there for training camp. And storyliners, we'll have to put something together. We got to get creative with that. One of the things you said about Pickens and being the Alvin Harper, I mean, I get the concept. I mean, you have a number one, then you have a number two that can play off of that. But Pickens is, let me say this the right way. Pickens is closer, in my opinion, closer to CD skill-wise than Harper was to Michael Irvin. I think it was a 1 and a 2. This is a 1A and I don't want to say a 1B, but I mean that's probably what it is. I guess that's what I'm saying because Pickens is dynamic, like more than Alvin Harper. Alvin Harper, down the field, big deep threat and all that. He could also take a slant and long strider, and that's one thing they do have in common because man, Pickens can get 15 yards in like 2 seconds, and just the way he's got long legs, he's just a long strider. But he's very quick, he's twitchy, and he made some plays yesterday. Had a couple where he was leaving cornerbacks just in the dust. He is a dynamic player, and he can get down the field as well. So that's one where I think the Cowboys have two really really good playmaking wide receivers. I can't remember a time where they had it like that. Even when it was Cooper and CD as a rookie, they weren't at that level as far as being dynamic yet. So, all right, let's go to Brian in Kansas City.
Good morning, Mr. Eatman.
How are you?
I'm doing good, sir. I had a weird thing happen to me. It was 2 days ago, and it made me think of a Cowboy thing, but I can't remember who the player was. So I was doing
Curvin Richards.
I was doing a freaking warm-up exercise and pulled a muscle in my back, and I was trying to remember there was a Cowboys offensive lineman who hurt himself like in the tunnel, jumping up and down, warming up for the game. Do you remember who that was?
How long ago?
It's during your tenure. It's not deep history. It's during your tenure. I don't know. I would say in the last decade, but it was one of those freak things where they were like, yeah, the person was, coming onto the field.
I think.
And, go ahead.
I think the Biotish. I think that happened to Biotish. I know he got hurt in pregame one time. So that was an offensive lineman that I can remember. And then there was another one way back, like Parcells' time, named Kurt Vollers, who also got hurt in a pregame or something and was out for the game. And Parcells was not happy about that, because he had made a decision to put him, get him ready to go and say, all right, you're active, and this guy's going to be inactive. And then in a pregame, guy gets hurt. So imagine the frustration there. But those are the two that come to mind. I don't know. Maybe somebody different.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was Vollers, but I'm probably thinking of Biotish. I just remember thinking, holy cow.
Yeah.
What are the chances of an elite athlete getting hurt in a pregame warm-up? But,
I was
just
like,
one of those things.
A hamstring injury for your offensive lineman. Like, what are we doing here? What kind of sprints are we doing?
Oh, man. All right. So for my question this week, man, I was wondering, so just to this time last year, just want to compare from the snapshot of right now to this time of last year, what unit on the team do you think is the most improved for whatever reason, because of coaching, because of acquisition, whatever, and then which one do you think is if you think there's one that maybe isn't quite the same, and I'll take the two low-hanging fruits. I'll say wide receiver because of the obvious.
Yeah.
And for me, right now, because of injury, it's defensive back. Because at this point last year, we had two of the three positions nailed down, right?
Yeah.
We had J. Lou and Bland waiting for Diggs to come back. We only had one position to figure out. Right now, I feel like we have two positions to figure out. And that's just temporary because of the injuries, but I don't think we have the same thing. And I'll hang up and listen, man. Enjoy your vacation, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. I think those are the answers, honestly. Wide receiver, and you said because of the obvious. I think you're talking about Pickens, but there's more to it than that, because when you think about a year ago, there wasn't a doubt that CD would be signed. It was just when. And he wasn't here for training camp. He did not participate at training camp, and definitely not in the OTAs. He might have done some OTAs and mini camps and all that, but it wasn't the same. He wasn't here like he's been, and so to have, like I just said, those two dynamic players, and they're here, and your quarterback's out there throwing them the ball, and so there's no question marks there with contracts and things like that. The chemistry that's being built there, and with this offense, and figuring out where everyone's going, and just all the motions and the shifting and things like that. To have everybody here doing that is huge. So yes, the answer is wide receiver, and for not just the addition of Pickens, but having CD here this offseason. And also I think you've got a better player in Turpin. I think Turpin is a more of a well-rounded offensive player. He's a weapon for you. And I think Shoddy knows this. I know he knows this, because he was a big part in getting him involved more at the end of the season last year in any capacity, running the football right up the middle. You would not think that guy could run the ball right up the middle, but he did it, and he'd get 9, 10, 11 yards when he did. You can't just do it every play. He's not going to hold up if you get too greedy with him, but he's got more that he can use on his plate. I think the Cowboys know that. That's why they signed him. And some of the contract incentives for him to make even more money is all offensive related. And so what he can do on offense there. And then to answer your question on the other side, what other position there? I think you were right about corner. I think that's the one, because you just felt better about it because Diggs was hurt early on, and he's coming back, and he should be fine. And Bland, had a great year, and Jordan Lewis re-signed, and everything was looking better there at corner. That now there's just a lot more question marks. So you kind of answered your own question. I thought you did a great job of doing that. You guys know what's going on. You really do. Let's take a break here on Cowboys Storyline. I'll be right back after this.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Hot mix waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. Works mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take a steak, cornbread, cobbler's pot pie, and potatoes, and next level with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Altec Lansing has been perfecting sound since 1927, bringing you decades of audio excellence to elevate your Dallas Cowboys tailgate ritual. Equip your next pregame with the Sound Rover 180 with 6 hours of playtime, built-in microphone, multicolor light modes, and a rugged exterior that's built to last. Visit AltecLansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off your Sound Rover 180. That's ALTECLANSING.com/Cowboys15 for 15% 20% off. Altic Lansing, official audio partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
All right, back here on Cowboys Storyline. Again, as I mentioned when the show began, this is our final show of the offseason before we get it cranked back up at training camp. That'll be in late July, and we're still figuring out the schedule there. Remember, that's at kind of an every other day for the shows. That we'll still have, I think it's 3 to 4 shows every day, but each show goes every other day. So in this case, which is more than the once a week that we're doing right now, of course we'll take a break, and it'll even out to about 2 times a week, sometimes 3, just depending on if we start on Monday or not. But definitely two times a week. Don't go on the weekends. So still be a lot of fun. I know Chris is working on making sure that phone line is good out there. Did we have 2 lines last year, Chris? I think we did, or was it just the one? I don't remember.
2.
We had 2. Yeah. So it was good. Looking forward to hanging out with my friend Mo Claiborne. Yeah, I'm sure because the 8 o'clock time slot, it works because it's 10 o'clock here Central Time, so it's the same time slot all year long, so it works. But it also is in the same time slot as mowing the grass every day and making sure and doing it right behind us as much as possible. But hey, that's part of it. We got to fight through it. As our old friend Jason Garrett used to say, be your best regardless of circumstance. So we're going to have to be our best there. Dylan, Northport, Florida. He's one of the best. What's up, man?
Hey, thanks, dude. I was confused. You talk about Mo Claiborne. I was like, wait, is he going to be like a co-host on the show?
No. That's my nickname for the guy. It might be different guys, but it's the people. Seriously, Chris?
There you go. It was so good it needed his own drop.
I mean, that actually sounds kind of soothing. I mean, like, that's kind of like when I have, if I can't sleep, turn on like this little sleep fan or something. That's what that sounds like. But it doesn't sound, I'm telling you this, it doesn't sound like that in my ear. It's completely different in my ears. It sounds different than that, but whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. I promise myself I'm not going to talk about it more than once a segment next year. So I'm gonna stop with that. Just once a segment. All right.
Well, maybe he'll partner up with Leaf Blower Larry, and you get a whole brigade out there. Who knows?
Oh yeah, there's more than just the mowing going on. We have a lot happening because it's practice is going to happen that morning. So there's a lot of cleaning up. There is a lot of the leaf blower stuff. So yeah, 8 to 9 is a lot of prepping for the field and stuff like that. But hey, it's okay. It'll be fine. What's up, Dylan?
Rob called in last week, and we had a whole Twitter conversation, him and me and a whole bunch of other people. It's a good conversation about Dak Prescott, and I disagree with a lot of his takes about Dak. But one thing that he said in particular that I just strongly disagree with, and hopefully he can call in and challenge me on it, was that he doesn't think Dak – he's concerned about Dak. Dak is his biggest concern on the team, but he still thinks he's a top 10 quarterback, which kind of is conflicting to me. And then he said that he doesn't want us to lean into the run. He says with all the weapons we have on offense and the offensive line, he says he wants us to be a pass-heavy team. But I'm like, if Dak's an issue or a concern, I don't want to go that route. I want to run the ball. I'll run the ball 10 times in a row if it's working. I'm the kind of guy that I'll do it until it stops working. It's low risk. If you're getting 5-6 yards of carry, I'd run the ball all ding dang game. And then what happens when you start running the ball? These safeties cheat up and they start playing more 8-man boxes, and all of a sudden now Pickens can go 50 yards for a touchdown deep because he's one-on-one with no safety help. I mean, run the ball, establish a run until they make you stop running the ball, and then run it some more, and then count on the pass. If Dak can throw the ball 25, 30 times a game, imagine 2025 Dak Prescott with the skill set that he has, the understanding of the game, having such a dominant run game. I don't know if we're going to have that. That's kind of a pipe dream. But imagine today's Dak in 2016 Cowboys offense. I think that would be a phenomenal team, a phenomenal offense, and that's what I want. And that's why I wanted to draft an offensive lineman, and I'm glad we did.
Yeah, I mean, I think both y'all are saying things that I can agree with, and that's why in this particular case, I think everybody can be right in this case. Not all cases, not all arguments, But in this one, I think you can. And the reason why I say that is I think back to the past. I think back to what was Tony Romo's best season? Well, I mean, 2014. He was third in MVP. Well, what happened in 2014 also? DeMarco Murray,
best running back in the league,
led the league in rushing. And Tony Romo was MVP. I mean, not the MVP. I'm sorry. He was third in MVP voting. And he played through a back injury some that year. He did not win MVP. Sorry to say that, but
he had an MVP caliber season.
It was his
same thing as 2023 Dak MVP caliber season.
Exactly. Aikman was a Hall of Fame quarterback, had the NFL's all-time leading rusher and all that, and had a lot of weapons too. And so I think, and then I think what I remember Rob's point is all of these weapons on offense don't want them to be a running team, but I want them to be a move the chains team. If you move the chains one way or another, it's going to change what the defense does, and then now your tight end's going to make plays, and then now your running back, like you just said, I think Dak can be a top 10 quarterback. I think they can be a running team, and I think all of the weapons can be useful in the way that we want them. That's the way it works. If everything's clicking, look at what the Eagles did. I mean, I think A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith were outstanding. I think Dallas Goedert was really good. And then they had a guy that was a 2,000-yard rusher as well, and a quarterback that does his thing, tush push, and all that kind of stuff. You can do all of it if you're good, and I think everyone can be right in this situation. I really believe that.
Yeah, I just don't want to see Dak throwing the ball 40 times a game because there's diminishing returns. And if you're throwing the ball that much, it probably means you're playing from behind or you can't run the ball or whatever.
And
30.
And I bet Rob would say he doesn't want that either 40 times. But I get what you're saying, and I really think I'm not trying to just be neutral here. I think everybody in this case can be right. I think they can be a running football team, and I think Dak and the offense can throw the ball all over the yard. I think it all can happen. Really?
Yeah, I'm just, we've seen Dak's best seasons, just like 2014 Romo. Dak's best seasons, he's had really good running game. Why was he so good as a rookie? Why was he able to pass the ball so well and play so well as a rookie? Well, it's because he had a dominant run game and dominant offensive line. So I feel like that's where it starts, and that's just what I want to see.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. Thank you for the call, Dylan.
Thanks, Nick.
And it sounds like you're going to be one of those that's going to be up there at training camp. So look forward to seeing you there. But a lot of times when you look at the running game, it's like, okay, they only ran the ball. Let's just say, like, we're here on a Monday talking and say they only ran the ball 17 times. Well, that's not a whole lot, and that's why they lost or whatever. But that's because in the third quarter they were down and they lost the game, and they had 17 rushing attempts or whatever. But let's say in the third quarter they actually drove down and took the lead, and then maybe got a turnover, and then they played some of the fourth quarter with the lead. Same game, but yet in the fourth quarter with the lead, they had 2 or 3 drives in a row where they were predominantly running the ball, and next thing you know, they had 28 rushing attempts. Same game, just a couple of little plays here and there in the third quarter changed the mindset, and now they had 28 rushing attempts, which is a lot of rushing attempts in a game. So that's my point. It's the same game that they were just playing with a little tweak here and there. But on Monday, we're talking about them being a running team as opposed to being a team that didn't run the ball that much. That's my point about everything is right. Everything can be the same. And I think because Emmett did his thing, Novacek made plays, Irvin was always making plays, Harper had a big one, catch down the middle. And then in the fourth quarter, Emmett, Moose, Emmett, slant, Irvin, Emmett. And then the game is over, and Emmett has 29 carries, 145 yards, and it looks like they ran the ball that much. But because they were so balanced early on, that it leads to that. That's kind of what my point. You do your things in the first 3 quarters or so. Fourth quarter, you can go run the football, and everybody can win. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. Chris in Saratoga Springs is next. Chris, what's up?
How was that birthday party this weekend?
It was good. I'll just leave it at that. It was. I'm tired of birthdays. I'll say that right now. And my son's birthday's coming up in about a week and a half. But yeah, it's been It's been an interesting couple weeks. Anyways, Chris,
You
what's
have
up, man?
three birthdays in like a month.
It's crazy. Chris's daughter's got a birthday too coming up there, so hopefully his experience is better than mine. Anyways, Chris, Saratoga Springs, what's up, man? How the
Not too much.
How the ponies look
They
out
were
there?
great. The Belmont was fantastic. Sovereignty won it in Belmont. It was unbelievable. It was an unbelievable day.
Do you see Bill
Really, really
Parcells
fun.
ever? Do you ever?
I do.
You see Bill?
I used to. Well, my dad does more than me, but we used to see him a lot because he lived right next to the golf course, and we lived like really close to it. He used to walk his dog,
Shocker.
and now he moved a little bit, so he doesn't live in the same area. So I haven't seen him as much. But my dad says he does see him every once in a while at Stewart's.
Yeah, I think that's where he is, up there with those horses.
Oh, for sure. He says it's the happiest place on earth. That's what he has said.
I bet. So what do you got, Chris?
I do. I've been listening to you guys, and I agree with you 1,000%. We just got to move the chain. Doesn't matter how we do it, run, pass. We just got to move the chains, get into that fourth quarter. And I agree with you guys 1,000% on that. I do believe that Dak's a better quarterback when we have a decent running game. It's been proven. There's not many quarterbacks in the NFL that can carry themselves without a running game. I can count them probably on my one hand that can do that.
Yeah.
Dak needs a decent running game in order for him to be super successful and the Cowboys to be successful. So that part of it, I think, as long as we can run the ball successfully and move the chains and stay healthy, obviously, we're going to be fine offensively. I really don't have any concern with that.
Yeah.
I do have a question on two players. I want your thoughts on them. Third years are normally big years for players in the NFL. You got Deuce Vaughn and you got Ryan Flournoy. What do you think for those two guys? Do you even think they're going to be, or do you think they're going to be a possible roster cut with all the depth we have right now at those two positions?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying yes to that question. I'm saying that's a very good question, and those two players are two that and I'm looking at Flournoy. Is he already in his third year? I guess so.
I think so. First year he was hurt, and then he didn't play at all. Last year he played for most of the season, so this would be his third year.
All right, I have he was drafted in 2024. Are you sure we're talking about the same guy? I think Flournoy, this is second year for Flournoy.
Is it?
Yeah. Either way, it doesn't matter. I mean, like, he's not at a point where he's safe.
Right.
So Flournoy and Deuce, good questions there. Anything else, Chris? Before we move on, I'll answer that.
No, you can move on to the next guy. I'm sure there's a ton of people waiting to call, so we're good, Nick. But thank you for taking my call as usual.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you. Have a good day, and I appreciate that. All right, Deuce for sure. Deuce. I mean, they drafted two players at his position. Still out there doing some things in minicamp yesterday. I mean, he's not a forgotten player. I mean, excuse me. He's out there and he's doing stuff. It's going to be an uphill battle for him. He's going to have to be way better than Phil Maffa. He's going to have to be better than Miles Sanders. That's really what it comes down to. He's going to have a different role than a Javonte Williams, but a Miles Sanders is the type of player that, that's where if Deuce has to show that he can be better than that. I mean, I think Blue's on the team. I don't even think that's a question. But as far as who you've got to beat out, and it's not just them. It's every other running back that gets cut or gets available one way or another. And that's the way it is with all positions. It's not just those 4 or 5 guys here in your room that you got to be better than. That's how you get more practice reps, is by beating them in the practice before, and then maybe you get a little bit more the next day and all that. But also making the team and playing in games, there's other guys that are going to get released too. You got to be better than all of them too. So that's why it's a tough business. Flournoy, that's going to be a challenging thing. I mean, you look at what they're doing. I mentioned Kevontae Turpin getting more reps. I mean, I think the biggest competition in the room right now for Flournoy is probably Jalen Brooks and Mingo. I mean, those guys right there. Because you look at your first two receivers, Tolbert's the third one. He's not going anywhere. led the team in touchdowns. Turpin's your fourth guy. After that, Flanoy, Mingo, Brooks, Paris Campbell. Those four are going to be, all fighting for spots. And don't look now, but Jalen Cropper just makes about 4 plays every practice. And I mean, he's a guy that you could forget about if you're not watching all the time, but getting a chance to watch practice, I mean, Jalen Cropper has made a lot of plays. Not sure who all he's going against every time, but you're out there practice, you're talking to the other guys, you look up, number 16 is like running at us, and it's happened multiple times. So can't discount him either. But Flanoy, with these guys, Cropper, Flanoy, Campbell, Mingo, Brooks, maybe Mingo's a little higher than that, but for what they gave up, he's going to get more opportunities, obviously. But it comes down to also special teams. I mean, your fifth wide receiver, no, your fourth receiver is Turpin, and he plays special teams. But your fifth receiver, I mean, he's got to be a part of special teams, and that's where Flanoy and Brooks, I think, probably have a little bit of a advantage there. But good question there. It's with those two guys. I mean, it's not going to be easy for them for sure. All right, Irwin in Colorado is next.
Hey,
Irwin.
Nick, what's going on?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, Nick, I just wanted to touch a little bit on what I believe Dylan was talking about with the Prescott and the run game and all that.
Yeah.
I think that all Cowboy fans could agree, and football fans in general, that they kind of rely on each other. Good quarterback needs a running game and vice versa.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think we've kind of all watched the last couple of years the way McCarthy was calling plays and how creative they were in the running game. From what I understand, Shoddy has a background with, the run game and misdirections and stuff like that. So I think that's really going to help with, a run game. And quickly, just one more thing, Nick. Being from Colorado here, I've gotten a chance from time to time to watch Javonte Williams.
Yeah.
The running that we picked up. He's pretty damn good running back.
Yeah. Why do you think Denver didn't? I mean, I'm just curious. Why did it not work out more with him? Didn't fit with what Sean Payton was trying to do, or what do you think?
Well, I think that there's a combination of a couple things, possibly that, but he does kind of have a history of injury. So from what I understand, he's coming into the season pretty healthy, and I think they just kind of soured on, like probably most teams do injury-wise when players continuously keep getting injured.
Yeah.
They kind of like bodes, not too good in their favor. But that's what I think. I think that's really what happened with Williams. But I've watched him play here. This guy is a thumper. I mean, he will put it on you. And so just wanted to get your thoughts on that. I really think we've got a good combination of running backs this year.
Yeah,
I want to get your.
Yeah, Erwin, I appreciate that, and thanks for calling with a good perspective there with Javonte Williams and playing for the Broncos and kind of what happened there. I remember him. I think it was a game against the Cowboys, and I just remember him just being so physical. And when they Clayton Adams talks about what kind of running game they want, violent type running style, he's the one that fits that, And now pairing him up with a Jaden Blue, Miles Sanders type runners, where they can do a little bit of both. But I say this all the time: if you're going to be effective in this 1-2 punch, both of those guys have to do the other just a little bit. You do need Javonte to catch the ball out of the backfield some, maybe take a sweep on the outside. You're going to need a Jaden Blue, Miles Sanders, Deuce Vaughn to take the ball right up the middle on 3rd and 2. You got to keep everybody honest. But for the most part, if Javonte is the thumper, I think he does it well. But he has to do a little bit of everything to stay on the field too. So good addition. Excited to see him running the ball. I wonder what fans are going to think of that number 33 running the football. It doesn't happen a lot around here, but it'll look good to see that back in the backfield again. All right, Josh in Chicago's next.
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Not too bad. I got a point really quick to make and then a question for you. So my point is I kind of agree with you on the whole whether the debate between Rob and and Dillon. But I kind of agree with you. I think what we really need to be is a team that utilizes our weapons better, right?
Yeah.
You look at Kansas City, Philly, or even San Fran before last year. They have weapons in the run game, the receivers, the tight ends, and they know how to use them in the games as the games kind of progress. And I think that's something that if Schottenheimer does well, we'll have success with.
I agree.
Whether we're throwing 30 times or running 30 times, it doesn't matter as long as we're moving the chains, we're utilizing our weapons. The question I have for the offense is, I think Booker is probably going to be the starter, but does Hoffman have a role maybe in some jumbo sets or even as a fullback sometimes? I think he's quick. I think he's the type of guy who can, get after and be kind of violent, maybe check in sometimes as a receiver out there on the line, and kind of what Detroit's done in the past with some of their tackles as well, or linemen as well. So kind of my thought. Just want to get your take on it.
I absolutely love that, Josh. I don't know why I haven't thought that before, but I think Hoffman could do that. I mean, I think he would be really good at that, like a lead fullback at times. Who did the last guy here that did it was, I want to say, was it McGovern? Connor McGovern did a lot of that. I think Hoffman's an athlete. I think he could be really good at that role. Again, if they do that, that's not anything you'll see. They'll practice it, and then the PR team will come over and tell everyone, don't report anything like that. Of course, a lot of if it happens at training camp, people will see it. Some of you guys might see it, but I think I like that role of maybe a defensive tackle or another offensive tackle. But yeah, I do like having some more beef in there. And I've always thought it was a good idea if you have the versatile players that can do that. So, yes, Hoffman, that could be a good role for sure. I like that. Let's tell the coach that. I'm going to talk to him. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not doing that.
Please do. And the thing I like about Hoffman in that position, especially if they line him up at fullback, is kind of how quick he can get up to the second level. And being a lead blocker, I think for somebody like Blue, they might be able to really spring some good runs, or even Turpin back there,
Yeah.
Have Hoffman line up and just blow somebody up would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, if you tell them that you're probably not good enough to do that, and you're probably not quick enough to go and hit these linebackers and to get off the ball that quick, you're probably just not good enough, which is what it sounds like he's heard his entire life, and it just motivates him. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a hold my beer type of player, like, oh, okay. You don't think so? All right, well, that's cool. And he's probably motivated like hell with the drafting of Booker,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, can you get in there? Can you mix it up? You think you could play fullback? You think you could, when we snap this ball, you can get off the ball quick enough and don't get hit by the running back behind and get that linebacker in the hole? And then when you do, let them know that you did, because that's going to be the fun part. It's just the collisions, and so I love it. I think it's a great idea. We should implement that ourselves.
Thanks, Nick. Talk to you later.
All right, Josh. Good stuff. I mean, I've always liked that big defensive tackles or another offensive lineman. It's better than your third tight end. Your third tight end's a guy that's supposed to be out there and help you, but think about when they go to three tight ends, how often do they really pass out of that? I mean, it's not often where they say, all right, we're going to fake it, we're going to go play action, and these three tight ends are going to go on a route. The three tight ends are your guys that you're going to get out there in 13 personnel and you're going to run the ball. Are those tight ends that the Cowboys have had, are they better at blocking the defensive ends and linebackers? Just because they're tight ends, I say it all the time, just because you're tight end doesn't mean you can block. And just because you're just because you're a guy like Hoffman or something like that doesn't mean you can do it from the fullback position or whatever. But I always like that tackle eligible player, as long as they report, because if you don't report, bad things can happen. You got to report to the refs. But as long as you do that, I think that could be pretty good. All right, let's go to Irene in Falls Church, Virginia.
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, I'm going to pivot real quick because Josh's call triggered something for me. I know you were joking that you were going to talk to the coaches. Is there a written rule or an unwritten rule about things like that, or does that ever come up where you're like, hey, this idea, what if? Do you float things to them ever?
it depends on your relationship with the coach, and like if you have a good enough relationship. But I think it's done differently than that. It's almost like you got to remember coaches have egos.
Sure.
We all do, but I mean, so it's done more like, I'm sure you guys have talked about this. Do you guys ever throw around like different scenarios, different players, like as fullbacks and stuff like that, blockers, like either a defensive guy or another lineman? I mean, is that something y'all do? A guy like a Hoffman or something like that? That's how I would approach it. Not like, hey, got a question for you. Josh
in Chicago says.
Right. I got a play for you. Here, it's called this. Yeah.
That sounds like my job too. And I'm like, okay, let me build up this ego so that I can get what I want out of them.
Right. I'm sure you guys have already thought this. And you're probably working on. I'm just curious. Would a guy like Hoffman be good for that? And so, that's something we. And then they'll tell you like, we talk about that kind of stuff, but we'll see. That's what they'll say. We'll see. So you don't really get the answer you're looking for. But again, it's all about your relationship. But I would never be like, emailing a play to coach and say, run this.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little too much there. Okay, so I had a question about it's sort of, I guess, about minicamp and looking to training camp. I have not heard much about any of the undrafted free agents. And I think this year's class, there's some intrigue, but less so than in years past because we've done a little bit more, George Pickens kind of blocks a lot of excitement. But Holden is one I was looking at because I know he's fast, and I think there was some thought that he should have been drafted.
Yeah.
And then just because I'm a UVA fan, Neville and his story are interesting to me. He's a tight end. Has anyone shine? I know it's harder in minicamp, but has anyone kind of sparked any intrigue that you'd say, okay, we got to at least keep an eye on, at least for practice squad for training camp? And then before you answer that, just in case Chris cuts me off, I have to take up Ollie on his offer. If he asks for my phone number, I would love a Pope Leo rosary and picture from him, an Ollie original for my mom because she would love that. So had to get that out there. I'll take your answer off air on the UDF phase.
Okay.
All right.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what just happened there before. Maybe there was a conversation that I missed or forgot about, that last part about phone numbers and stuff. I don't know. But to answer the first part, the football part, Holden, that's a guy that I've seen him, doing some things. Now, I can't tell you that I've seen a ton of plays that he's made. Again, it's Cropper, Flanoy, Mingo. Those are the guys that I've seen make the most plays. But this is just 1 hour a week that we see. They've been doing many. This week is mini camps. We get to see all the practices, but we'll get to see a lot more at training camp. And that's the thing about receiver. And then you get to preseason games too. Like you could be relatively quiet and then go to a game, have a 63-yard touchdown, and next thing you know, you're the guy that's at least going to be on the practice squad. Maybe you make the team. I remember a guy, can't remember his first name. It might have been Jalen because every other receiver is named Jalen, but Jalen Guyton maybe was his name. And he was a local guy, and he didn't do a lot in training camp, and it was a little disappointing. And then I think in the preseason game, he had like an 80-yard touchdown at the very end of the preseason, and he still got cut. Which I was shocked because I was like, this will get you on the practice squad, or maybe they tried to get him on the practice squad, but he goes to the Chargers and played 3 or 4 years. He may still be in the league. I'm just saying, my point is that one play here and there, when the lights are on, when there's a scrimmage against the Rams, or when there's a preseason game, that'll move you from the 9th receiver to like the 6th receiver very quickly. And on the flip side, you could be having the greatest training camp, be all Oxnard 2025, and then don't do anything in the preseason, and that'll lower you. So it goes both ways there. All right, John in Delaware. What's up?
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. Still ecstatic about this year. I haven't been this excited about the offseason in quite some time. My birthday is on Monday. I got a question. Do you have any idea if are we completely done with signing players to shore up some of the defense a little bit more?
John, can you say that one again? I'm having a hard time hearing you. I heard your birthday was last week, and then maybe signing players?
My birthday's Monday. I'm just wondering if there's any chance that we make any more moves to this defense.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's take that off the air. Thanks, John. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Sorry, I had a hard time hearing that, but I did get the question. Could they make more moves on defense? Could they? Yes, they could. Will they? Yeah, they probably will. They probably will make more. Now, will they be significant moves that will be across the ticker of whatever you're watching on ESPN or NFL Network? Maybe not. But yeah, they'll add players, of course. I think the two to watch would be cornerback and defensive tackle. But right now, they're going to see what corners they have. They want to see what these guys can do. They're going to let Mukwamu, it looked like he's a corner now. They're going to let him, get out there. And I mean, he's a bigger corner. And he's done some stuff in the slot that's been interesting for him. He gave up a play to Pickens, yesterday. But again, Pickens is tough to cover. I mean, this is a tough cover for him. So. But he's also, Mukwamu's had his moments too, where it played in the right way, in the right scheme, he could be interesting. But to answer your question, I think what you do this time of year is you see what you have. You see if Jay Toya can do something at defensive tackle. You see what Aking Basote can do at defensive tackle. And you're going to give him some opportunities because those guys that are out there are out there. And they're probably still going to be out there at training camp and some of them into training camp because they don't want to be at camp in the offseason. Now, are they getting their bodies ready to be available to sign? That's a question. But this is the time where you see what you have. You see what Revel can do at cornerback and see if he's going to, how ready he's going to be and when. And when you get closer to it, then if you decide, what, we're going to need to make a move, then you make a move. We've seen it. We've seen it happen with these guys in the past. We've seen Anthony Barr sign here in training camp. We've seen Jason Peters sign at the end of training camp. We've seen Linval Joseph sign. That move was been talked about for like 3 months, but they wanted to see what they had there. And they also, I don't think Linval Joseph had any interest in signing until when he did. So there's a couple of different scenarios happening there. Let me go ahead and get Rob from Vegas in because I need to go to break, but he's established to the point where I don't want to keep him holding. Rob, what's up, man?
Hey, Nick, how's everything?
Good. How are you? You're getting referenced a lot in this show. I don't know if you've been hearing it.
Yeah, I was listening. Dylan's my guy. He's a fellow New Yorker. So I listen.
Am I right? But everybody's right here. Like you're not
correct.
saying you want Dak to throw it 40 times, do you?
No, because that means we're probably losing.
Right. Okay.
No. Listen, I just want to say this. I know it's a team sport. I know 22 guys, more, whatever. But to me, we all know it's all about the quarterback. If the quarterback doesn't play good,
yes.
you don't win.
Right.
Unless something weird. I'm a Dak fan as a man. His mother up in heaven, she did a great job. He is a great man. And if I have daughters, and yes, if one of my daughters brought him up, absolutely, he's a great man. And I think he's a very good quarterback. I think he is a top 10 quarterback when everything is going good. My issue with Dak is simple. There's three. Injuries. when he gets hurt, they're big injuries, and they're starting to stack up. Now, I don't believe in, well, if you had an injury 2 years ago, now you're injury prone. No. But he's had some big injuries that affect his wheels, like Emmitt Smith used to say. Emmitt never hurt his legs. When you start to hurt your legs, that affects you. My other issue with him is he plays great against lesser competition, but his record against good teams is not good. And as a fan, I always assume we're going to the playoffs. The Super Bowl is the goal. So you have to beat these good teams to get there. We talked about it. They have a tough schedule this year, and everybody that's saying, well, they're going to go, I don't know, 9-8 or whatever, because they have them losing all the games to good teams. Well, then what's the point? You have to beat those teams. And the third thing is in the playoffs, he just doesn't look the same. And I don't blame every loss on him, but when you look at him on the sideline or you look at him, he looks nervous. He just doesn't look the same. So that's my knock on him. I need you to take that step. There are players out there. We could talk about Jalen Hurts. Do I think Jalen Hurts is a better thrower than Dak? No. But in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl, he performs his best. And I give a guy a lot of credit for that. And everybody says, well, he's got a great team around. Well, Troy Aikman wasn't asked to do a lot. I know he could have, but he played in the system that the Cowboys said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to probably run the ball a little more because we got a great O-line. We got Emmitt. But when throws need to be made, I need you to make them. And that's what Jalen Hurts does, and I give him credit for that, and he's got a ring.
Yeah.
So that's my worry about Dak is I need you to pick it up in the playoffs because I am assuming this team, if they stay healthy, should make the playoffs. I think they're better on paper than they were last year. And if they want to run the ball, they don't need to run the ball more. They need to run better. Last year, it seemed like you could pencil them in. It was going to be 2nd down and 8. And now it'd be better if it was 2nd down and 5.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm saying. You're never going to be a running team. You have a $60 million quarterback, a $35 million wide receiver, and now you got Pickens. There's no way that the OC is going to turn around and look at those guys and say, I'm not going to throw the ball. No, you have to throw the ball. You just have to run the ball better. That's it. And it will help that. It will help there's only Josh Allen's like the only quarterback that they say, listen, I need you to do it all. Take out the trash, make the coffee, and do everything else. Even Patrick Mahomes, as great as he is, Andy Reid understands if we can run the ball, we're a way better team. So, no, I'm not saying don't run. I'm just saying run better.
I got it. All right, Rob, thanks for calling in and saying that. I'm going to hit these points as well that you mentioned. Always appreciative of the call. Captain, one of the captains on our StoryLine team. And by the way, just so y'all know, and I appreciate no one asked me, but I will say this. All of the Yeti mugs went out in the mail this week. They're all out there. So be looking on the lookout for that. If you made the StoryLine team, first, second, or third team, you should be. And everybody who said they wanted the blue one or the black one, we were able to accommodate that as well. All right. The stuff about Dak, and about being a running team and all that. I mean, the big thing about it is can you run when they think you are running? When you're up by 4 with 4 minutes to go, and you really want them to burn timeouts, or we want to chew up some time, and they know you're going to run it. Can you run it? And that's when I think about the Chiefs. I remember some games where they, in the playoffs, where Pacheco, they just ran out the clock, and everyone knew they were playing the Bills, I think. Everyone knew they were going to do it, but they still figured out a way to run it just well enough, just off the edge, just enough to be effective in doing it. And that's what a good running team is to me. And I say that and use that example because I'm pretty sure most of that game, Mahomes and Kelsey, they were doing their thing. But when it's time to run and you get in the red zone, can you be a good running team there? You don't have to run all the time, but when it's time to run, do you have the ability to do that? And the other points that he made, about him, the big injuries, yeah, they've been big. The playoff stuff, I think we remember the game. Was it 2022 season where may have been 21. They're kind of getting my years mixed up a little bit. I think it was 22, where Dak, the season ended in San Francisco. He threw a couple of interceptions, didn't have his best game, and that was the game Pollard got hurt. They ended up losing, and that's how the season kind of ended. Was thinking about that and Dak and the offense struggling, but 6 days before that, they went to Tampa, and it's overshadowed now because of the San Francisco game, but it was one of the greatest games any quarterback in NFL history has ever played in the playoffs, statistically. I mean, it's unbelievable. What Dak did that day in Tampa Bay, I think I have to look at it. Might have been like 400 yards or a 300-yard game with 4 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. It's just something that just hasn't, I don't think it had ever been done by a quarterback. So, but he backed it up the next week in a bigger game on a bigger stage against a better opponent and didn't play well, or at least to that standard, and that's what was remembered. And then, so does he have the ability to step it up and play well in the playoffs? Yeah, we've seen that, but we've also seen games where, it's just like with any quarterback. It goes how he goes. I'm going to take a super quick break here. Take a break, come back, and then we'll wrap it up maybe with one more call.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
There is no I in Dallas. There is no I in Hart either. No I in Blue Star or in Lone Star for that matter. And there's no I in how about them Cowboys? Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. Football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks, home or away, we rally together. We cry together. And we always rally cry together because there's definitely no I in Cowboys fans. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
To Cowboys Storyline.
All right, back here on Cowboys Storyline. We're going to have to move quickly here. I got a couple more phone calls I wanted to get in, but we do have, of course, Cowboys break right after this show here, so we got to move quickly. We'll go to Robbie, Cocoa Beach, Florida. Robbie, what's up, bud?
Hey, man, 2 things, and I'll try to make it quick. I know I'm long-winded sometimes.
Appreciate it.
Edelman was an undrafted free agent of ours, if I remember correctly. You were talking about wide receivers going on and do other things with other teams.
Edelman?
Am I right? I think so. Didn't he play for us for a little bit?
If he did, I don't think so. I'm sorry. I'm going to say no to that one. Julian Edelman.
Yep. Could have sworn he was a Cowboy for a little bit.
I'm missing something here. Chris, you got a good memory too. Edelman, no.
No.
You're scaring me because I'm getting older, and I'm like, oh, man.
I am too, man. I could have sworn.
Not
he
Edelman. I think you're thinking of Danny Amendola. I think that's who you're thinking of.
Amendola. That's exactly who I'm thinking of. Yep, you guys are right.
Fair.
See, my memory's going too.
Well, that's a fair comparison in a lot of ways. All right, what's up?
And second, I think Troy said it best. He was announcing a game, and it wasn't against the Cowboys, just one of his announcing games.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Buck said to him, he said, well, you guys were a running team. And he said, no, we passed the ball in the first half, and we're a very balanced team. And we just ran the ball well in the second half. That made us look like a running team. But we got the lead, and then we ran.
That's exactly what I was trying to say.
Yep.
And But you don't have Emmitt Smith, so let's be fair about that.
I agree. And we don't have that line, but maybe. All right. Hey, happy birthday to all your girls and to mine, too. Talk to you guys later.
All right. Thanks, Robbie. Appreciate that. All right. I like it. Let's go last caller. Lester, Minnesota. What's up, man?
Hey, Nick. How's it going out there, man?
It's going
I know I
good.
got to be quick.
Yeah.
So I got a couple points.
Okay.
And the first question, how's my our offensive line looking? How's it looking? I just put it like that. Second point.
Okay.
As I always say, in our 90s team, we use the offense as a weapon. So hence the offensive line and hence running the ball. And I don't mean run the ball 25, 30 times, but the foundation of any good offense should be running the ball because Dak is a better play-action passer, et cetera, and so forth. And like I said, once the safeties creep up, you can throw it over the top. And that's all I have. I know you got to be quick, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Lester, for the call. That's going to be our last call of this offseason before we get to training camp. So that'll be the last call that'll be quiet without the mower. No. Thank you for the call. Great stuff. And as far as the running game goes, it's what I said with – when you know that you're going to run, that's what made that team so good. Nate Newton used to tell the guy in front of him, we're running it right here. And I'm going to block you. Moose is coming. And then Emmett, stop it. And you couldn't. And so that's what made them so good. And you're not going to get that back because you're probably not going to have that type of running game. But you got to be able to run that football when teams are expecting you to run it. Still figure out a way to run it. And I think that's what they're establishing. That's what they're trying to do. You don't have to turn into a running team. You don't want to be any kind of team like that. You want to be a good offense. You don't want to be a running offense, a passing offense. You want to be an efficient offense that, and I say it all the time about bus drivers, okay? Sometimes bus drivers drive in a school zone 20 miles an hour, and your goal is to not hit anybody and make sure everyone gets there and on time. And sometimes the bus driver is used to take the football team 6 hours to another game. And you need to get in the HOV lane and you need to go 75, 80 miles an hour because traffic was bad here. You got to get to the stadium. So I know you're the bus driver, but step on it. That's what an offense should do. There's times you go slow. There's times you go fast. There's times you're grinding out the clock, and there's times we're down by 17, and we got to score quickly. If you can do all of that, at some point, that's what's going to make them a great offense. And so we'll see if they're good enough to do that. Great show, great calls. Appreciate it. Going to miss you guys for the next few weeks. Can't wait to get started again back in Oxnard. This will be, again, our last week of shows. We still got shows here in the studio for the next few weeks, including the break here in a few minutes. But it's been fun as always. Chris Beam, can't do it without you. Appreciate everything you do. And thanks to everybody. Remember, the Yeti mugs are going out. They're out this week, so you should be able to see them. Maybe I'll jump on the spaces with you guys on Twitter and join you guys at some point in the offseason. Have a great summer. We will see you in Oxnard in July. See you guys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?